Today I'm going to show you a very easy way on how to paint snow using watercolours, and this time we'll be painting some very colourful rose hips. So let's get the brushes wet and let's get started. Okay, let's get a little bit of Scarlet Lake and a small amount of alizarin crimson as well. Just going to soften down my pencil so it's not too outlined. I've made it slightly darker so you can see it on the camera, okay? But normally I would have that very pale indeed, so you can only just about see those pencil lines. Let's grab a small amount of masking fluid. You can use a cocktail stick actually if you want to. And very lightly tap in some tiny dots. A little bit too big, that one. So make use of any happy accidents that you get, okay? Tiny little blobs here and there. Tiny dots. Just on the very top. And the same on this one here. If you end up putting too much masking fluid on, don't worry. Because what you can do is just take it off again afterwards. Yeah, simple as that. And you probably find this isn't quite enough, then we can use some white paint as well in conjunction with the masking fluid, just to make it stand out. Then let that dry. Then once it's nice and dry, we can start to think about adding paint over the top. Let's grab a small amount of Payne's Grey and some cerulean blue. I want that fairly watery in there. Then grabbing any brush, it's quite a long one, this is a Tintoretto. Tintoretto. I'm going to paint around the image now, so around the stems and also the rose hips. Just so we've got a bit of a background there to begin with. Try to be as neat as you can going around the edge of this. The reason why we need a background is because of the fact that we've got snow on there and we need that snow to stand out. And obviously it won't stand out against the white of the paper, of course not. So I'll put that colour in there like that. Give that brush a quick rinse out. Then soften that down along the edge. Just to ease it back. And the same again. Just like that. Yeah. I'll do that on the other side as well. And anywhere else where the snow is, okay? Okay, we'll keep this very simple. So what I'm going to do, grab a little bit of brown. Got some burnt umber here. I don't want to go too detailed with this. It's basically just a demonstration on how to paint snow. I know. It's a little bit of burnt umber. We'll use that for the branch first of all. I'm going over the top of that masking fluid. Just feels weird, doesn't it? When you're painting over masking fluid, you think, well, I want to paint the detail below that as well. And then down there, it's a little bit of a nick there, a little bit of a bud. And then the rest of these areas as well. Keep it nice and neat if you can. Let's drop just a touch of burnt sienna in there as well. Just to change it slightly. Touch more burnt umber in there. It's a very basic looking branch. Now allow it to dry. I tend not to dry with a hairdryer or anything like that when there's masking fluid present. Because it can harden. It can then, if you're not careful, tear the paper when you try to remove it. Okay, it's nice and dry. Now I've actually got another mix here as well. The same colour of the Scarlet Lake and the alizarin crimson, but a touch more alizarin crimson in there. But what I need is a darker colour as well for the shaded side of the rose hips. So what I'm going to do is use a little bit of green to go into that red. With green being a complementary colour to red, you find you can make a nice sort of darker sort of, red colour like that. There you go, something like that will do. And maybe just add a touch more that one there. That's phthalo green, by the way. Look at that, perfect. Yeah. So first things first, grab some of the red colour. Oh, here we go. I know. And first of all, paint the entire rose hip, other than the highlighted area around there-ish. It doesn't have to be perfect, remember. We're not after perfection today. I think I'm going to leave the highlight probably around there. So I'm going to mark that out first of all so I know where we're going to go. Alright. Then paint the rest in. Then bring that down, and then we've got the brown end bit on there. There we go. And then bring that up to the highlighted area. Then you can increase the colour if you want to as you go along. Also thinking about the shape of this in a minute as well. Just want to get some colour on the paper first of all. Then we go from there. Then go for your darker colour, your shadow colour. Then drop that into the wet paint as well. On the left hand side to begin with, now we're considering shape. We're thinking about that shape in there, aren't we, all the time. Then blend it out as you go along. There you go. Blend it, blend it. A little bit more. Every layer of paint you add will get richer and richer as you go along. Just a touch on this side as well, I think. But not much. Now this little highlighted area there, we could reserve the white of the paper, or we could use white paint instead. For now I'm going to reserve the white of the paper and use a clean brush to soften the internal edge of that highlight there. Look. Soften it back. Just that inside edge. Keep washing that brush out while you're doing this as well. And there's one. Yeah. Now if you need to darken this again, remember you can just put another layer of paint over the top. I just darken it down even further. Then add more shape to that rose hip. As for the end bit, what I want to do with that is get some brown and some black. Pardon? I know. I do use black sometimes, you know. So burnt umber and lamp black. Just a dark colour, that's all we need here. Okay, so work on the end here. You might need to put a little bit more black in that as you go along. Or even just drop it straight onto the paper. Yeah. I'm going to stipple by popping this in first of all. Lots of little stipple marks, even gaps in between. Using the very, very tip of that brush. And remember what I said about this, that every layer that you add on will get darker and darker. Okay, let's quickly paint the other two in as well. And then, once it's dry, we can remove that masking fluid. Yay. Okay, it's nice and dry, and also nice and dry finger. Make sure it's completely bone dry before we remove that masking fluid. And you can see, just by doing this, already, we've got a snow effect. Just on these rose hips. Oh, look at that. That's very, very effective. It really is. Obviously you can tweak and fine tune as much as you want from here on. That's a very easy way of creating snow on something like rose hips. There you go. Now, do you fancy another wintry project? Take a look at the link to the top right hand corner of the screen. I'll see you there.